Okay, so my name is Anna Clark. I'm on www.facebook.com/Apostle Anna Clark. My link should be below. If not, click back to my homepage or, on another video of mine, and you should see the links where you can connect with me. Okay, I'm going to read what the Lord had me write this morning. I'm sorry, I don't want to clear my throat a lot, but let me see. Okay. So this is going to talk about if you feel God's led you into a very different way. And maybe you haven't had others to look at as the example. A lot of people go to church, so they get an example and almost like a blueprint of this is a wiser way to walk, to have more peace or joy or, to be in God's will for your life. But maybe they don't know the blueprint God has for you. Maybe God takes you a different way a little bit, or even in a part or a season in your life, or maybe even a decade in your life or so, because He's walking you into something else, or is forming you to lead something else, or be something else, build something else, whatever. So anyway, if this is for those that know they walk with God, but feel He leads them in a very different way. Okay, in just a different way, just because it's a new time and He's going to do something different with you. Okay, so, there's a time for everything. And when it's your time, you get it, do it, go have it. When He says yes, you didn't need man's validation or man or certificate. I'm just saying, for some things that He wants to give to you, or for some things that are for you to do, you won't need nobody's yes but God. And God will train you, some of you, to only follow the steps He has for you, of which others won't understand. Maybe that's a better way to say it. You almost seem like a rebel, but you're a rebel with a cause. He's taught me a way. When you love as if it's just you and God. When God gives you somebody or a relationship or a connection, and God's yes is on it, but the people around you don't know that, or it goes against the system you came out of, but God pulled you out of that system anyway. So it's perfect because it fits you, but it don't fit them. And that's all right. When God's leading you and His yes is on it, but nobody understands. The ones that don't understand don't foresee, even if they could be highly prophetic. If they have an opinion, it'll blind. That's why having an opinion boxing God in some ways can sometimes blind you to, if you're busy with your opinion, basically I'm saying He can't tell you the future of a connection, the future of this or that, the high potential of this or that. He won't reveal it because He'll let you have your opinion. So that's why some people can have an opinion about you, who you're with, what you're doing, what you're building, what you're making. If they could find out, they would have an opinion. But you knew that the Lord led you there. This is why I'm saying God will lead some of you to only walk on His yes. Walk by His yes. This is the kind of person He could trust. You're about to be bolder. This is the kind of person He can trust to go against the grain. You're not afraid of 10,000 saying no when God says yes. He needs that kind of person. It's not that, He needs that kind of person, because that kind of person is like a David. They might be little. They might not have much but a little rock. But they, with God's yes, can hit giants. They, with God's yes, can take things out and down. They, with God's yes, can lead nations. He needs people that can walk in opposition to people and carry God's yes. So sometimes God will prepare you to walk in something new, or prepare you to do something new that's later, that the body of Christ does not know the Lord's moving in yet, for the masses, for the whole body of Christ, or how he's going to move the church system or whatever. And the new wave he's going to bring. Sometimes he starts with you before the word gets out to others. So you're like David, being trained in the back lot before he's released to be, a leader. Can you walk with God's yes in the small place with opposition? Because if you can, I believe he's preparing you for something else, or maybe just preparing you for your own autonomy with the Lord. I have always been one that's like opposing, but I don't go around starting arguments. So I almost sounded like I double talked, but if this is you, you'll get what I'm saying. At least in the areas where God has made you stand on his word for you, where others didn't understand. So I'm encouraging those that feel different, feel left out, feel cut from a different cloth, feel like you don't fit. You feel like a round peg trying to go to some square box hole or something. You just don't fit, because really, you're just different, okay? Anyway, God's taught me a way. When you love, and the Lord leads you to love, it's really just you and him and that person and that thing. It wasn't a businessman's yes, a government's yes, a family's yes, a friend's yes, a clergy's yes. Just move on God's yes. We have become prided by our educational system, by our certification systems, and by our clergies and religious leaders. We have become prided by, if they say yes, then it must be right. Then it must be God's yes on it for us. But have you seen modern day Pharisees? I've seen anointed people, but they're still a modern day Pharisee in some form or fashion or area. They have a religious spirit in some area. A religious spirit can even give you a view, a perception. It'll make you feel like God can only use you if you walk in this right alignment and way. That's not true, because God will use a donkey. Did the donkey walk in your do's and don'ts? God has taught me that you can even deliver and cuss at the same time. You could cuss and do deliverance at the same time. God has taught me that you can curse and bless. You can make die with your words, and you can raise the dead. God's taught me you could have just got done doing something and you still get a prayer through. God has taught me. He's walked me to dark places, to sit in low places with people with a lot of demons in them. And I was like, God, this is not you. He was like, no, girl, sit with these. This is the least of these. These are the least of these in me. Sit with these and you're still anointed. So I beg to differ. Those that are prided in themselves, their do's and don'ts, your validations, your certificates, or because somebody's over you, now you feel validated because somebody's over you. But some of us don't have people over us, really. All you need is God's yes. Show me where you limit God or where you pride yourself. And I want to run you right into the wall of that and break it down if you're ready to go further. Because all you need is God's yes. It's like I'm ordained, you guys. I have the paperwork, but I didn't need that. I was already who I was supposed to be before a paper with some alphabets on it just said so. Can you be who God's called you to be without their yes? Because for some of you, you're going to have to walk on that, float on that yes, rely on that yes. It's what God says for you. God's going to marry some of you to people that don't know him yet. And people are going to say, no, that's not him. Let's talk to Moses. God's going to join some of you to some connections that to others it won't make sense. I'm talking for business, for ministry, for marriage. I'm telling you, I don't know the fullness of what it looks like, but all I know is God needs some people that he trained on his yes. Like, if he says yes, walk on that. That's it. So God's walked me away and he's taught me that you don't need other people. You don't need your family to say yes. You don't need your friends to say yes. See, your friends and your family is partial to you. So the imperfect person that he sends to you, they're going to nitpick at it. It's not going to be for you, they think. But God will show you where it is 10, 15 years from now. If God shows you the future of it and details with it, you're sent to it. That'll just be another clue. He doesn't always do that, but that'll be a clue, a big clue. So you better jump on it. When everybody's saying no and God says yes, you know what you need to do. I move on as yes. He taught me this. He taught me this when I was 15 years old and I was pregnant. And the doctor said, you have choices. The S sounded too loud to me. It sounded like a snake. When she was saying no to the pregnancy, this doctor and all these Christians were saying, they were hateful to me. But God put that baby in there. And God was saying yes to him, that child would be born for this time. Highly prophetic anointed seer, not of old church age. He's not of the molds. He's like his mama, but he's better in a lot of other ways in the spirit. But God said yes when people said no. Can you hear God's yes? When people are saying no, you have to get keen and pliable to the Lord's will in this time. I mean, you don't have to be. He'll let you do what you want to do. But if you really love God for real, you will walk on his yes when people say that can't be God. Oh yeah? Watch me rise anyway. Oh, she can't be anointed. She gets to do that and go there and here and drink that. Oh, yes. And guess where he's taking me? Not anywhere where you get the right to say no. Not anywhere where you get to limit me. Because I build my own. Or he sends me to whom he will. And when I'm sent, that's it. It's his yes. I walk on that. That's all. So he's trying to build people like that. And even stronger, even more bolder than me. And even more, joyful or even more powerful. It doesn't matter. I'm not saying I'm the example. I'm just saying I know where he's going somewhat. And he's taught me this. So I can help others to free themselves to just follow his yes. When everybody's saying no. You don't need your family's yes, your friends' yes, the clergy's yes. That means you don't need their paper. To build something in this time, to make money, you don't need everybody's yes. You don't need all kinds of certificates. Do you understand the day you live in with your technology in your hand? You understand the day you live in? We use our phones to entertain our brains. You have a business platform in your hand all day. So anyway, this is what God's going to do with you. Some people he's pulled out of systems. Some people he's pulled out of systems. Let me see how much time I have on here. Okay, 14. I've done 14 minutes. God will pull you out of systems or set you apart for a time and train you privately. That's how you know that you've been trained by the Lord and not just isolated and separated yourself off for no good reason. Or because you were depressed or something. This is not that. Once God pulls you out of things, it's usually to show you stuff. But do you know that if you've let him do that and you've not set up camp too much permanently there, Then when God tells you we're changing direction, now I'm sending you back in. Now you're going to go get the papers. Now you're going to go get this. Now you're going to go get married. Now you're going to go get this business plan. Now you're going to build the organization because you've already been trained in the back. You've already been trained in hiding. You've already been doing it. You've already been working on that connection, working on that team, working with that team, doing the ministry, doing the business, doing the hobby, getting some income. You've already been doing it all on God's yes, without other people's yes. I'm telling you in this time that now the Lord is about to dispatch people back into systems, even. So this is where the prophets get stuck. If they have a religious spirit, or if they get prided on wherever God sent you to. We can tend to get prided on our current assignment. That's my dryer, sorry. We can get prided on our current assignment. And when God changes the direction, then you're still proud in your prophetic cave. And you won't go back into the church system that he may send you into to link up with some to help others. And if you really love him, you'll be pliable. That's when you need to lose your I'm separated from that system because God pulled me out kind of statements. That's when you have to say, if that's where you're going, I'm going. You have to get like this in this day. There's people that have missed their next level in ministry and or business and their spiritual business if God's going to take them into that. Because they say, I won't tie any money system to my ministry because I only do this for free. Yeah, he taught you that way for 20 some years or more, or 10 years or whatever. But do you understand that if you can move with the Lord at this time, he's about to up your rank, actually reveal where you really sit at near him in heaven, and have you move at a different level, and you'll have a different level of blessings because you can move with him. So anyway, I'm going to read this. I'm going to just try to go through this without any added things. So I move on as yes. And that's him having us move in his original intention. How it used to be in the beginning with Adam. He didn't need to cut a tree down, print on paper to get his yes. It doesn't mean the Lord won't lead you through systems for different things and requirements for your way or path or work or love or life. But can I tell you that God's not needing anybody's yes when he wants to give you a work strategy outside of someone else's built system? Maybe he's giving you an invention of a platform that's not yet built. God's not needing everybody on board or to validate your relationships. God is not needing any school to give you an invention. In fact, they won't and they don't and they can't. They give you a structure and an old method and a mold, and they pump out more of the old. God gives inventions and designs, though. God is not needing all to go through a seminary in order to teach them. In fact, the secrets of the Lord are with those who fear him, who respect him and are in awe of him and really seek him like crazy and will lay everybody down and everything down for even seasons if he said so. God doesn't need you to always go through this hoop or that or someone's system. It doesn't mean that he doesn't lead you at some point to go into do their paperwork, do their paper games and their systems. This is where many prophets get stuck. Okay, this is what I was saying. Because they buck systems. That's weird. That's how we are. As led. But if we're not careful, we're still bucking a system that God's about to send us through after our training. So I might be waking up stale, stuck in the cave, still prophetic people that didn't know that they're missing the move God wants them to move in a while ago. Anyway, he always wanted us to trust him and for us to know that our true success is in him and not in man or its validations. But sometimes you are to build big and you can't go bigger with what you need to do or reach more on a larger scale, or have more money because now you'll finally take contracts and not be opposed to it. You can't do the bigger stuff from your dang cave. You must come out wherever you are. The reason why some of you don't have retirement is because the Lord's about to give you a retirement, and you didn't know how it was going to come, but it's coming by you saying yes to the next step in your ministry or business. You might need to be somebody that's going to be pliable. When the Lord told me to go put your PayPal up, when the Lord told me build a website, when the Lord told me go to this church and go in their leadership program, I was like, what? And I could see where all of the leaders' minds were, and the level and the rank that they moved from, and the amount of power that they moved from, if any. And I was like, you're telling me to go there? I've seen this. You have to say yes. If you won't say yes, God can't give you more. Sometimes you think you're waiting on God, and he'll let you prophesy to people from your stuck place. It's the same as if you spent all your money and gave it all to a church or to some ministry of somebody else's when God didn't tell you to. And then God sustains you anyway because you were being stupid. He didn't tell you to give to that dead place. And now because he sustained you, you think that was his will. It's just like the prophets that prophesy from their stuck place that didn't catch the word that the Lord told them through another prophet that you need to move on so that you can take your ministry to the next level. Some people are saying, I can't do that. Do you know where I'm at? Do you know how stuck I am? And do you know what age I am? Do you think God doesn't know? That's retarded. Listen, if you really love him, like you say you do, say yes. Oppose your situation with a yes to God. Oppose your circumstances with a yes to God. God will use you in your stuck place, even if you won't go to your next level. You probably missed the bus a few times. I keep having a dream of a bus coming by, and some people are just missing their dang bus. You're missing your beeping bus, okay? You're missing your bus. God did all this work. I'd hate if I invented something in my house in secret, crafted it, shaped it, sanded it, shined it, painted it, designed it, and then it never gets out. What's stopping it from getting out? Why are you stopping you? Why are you limiting the Holy One? Don't you tell God how old you are or how old you're not. Don't you tell God what you have and what you don't have. Don't you tell him that you won't go back into that system because he pulled you out of it and you're sure he pulled you out of it. Yeah, he surely pulled you out of it like you may have out of some relationships, but the Lord will send you back. How many can say yes to him? The only way some of you will change your situation is by saying yes to him. The Lord showed me where my retirement is going to be, and it's crazy why he's never let me work towards it all the years. You guys, I've been in the house 26 years with children. He's sustained me many ways. I'm surely his prophet. I surely live by the stream and the raven, or by the miracle, or by his hand just dropping things my way, or causing people to push things my way. Because I'm seeking first the kingdom, and I found that everything comes. God needs you to be more daring and more trusting and say yes. God needs you to be able to be built on just his yes when everybody's saying no. What God's trying to do when it looks like you're just opposing is he's trying to train you to have God dependence, God reliance, be God focused and God centered. when it don't make sense? Can you walk on his yes when it don't make sense? How are you going to raise the dead if you're over there trying to think, now, how do I raise the dead? How do I raise the dead? It's not going to be by your thought. It's going to be by his power. It's not by logic. If you've not seen this happen through your hands by the Lord, you may be one that's also been limiting him. I have seen this. I've seen God do this. And it's definitely him, not me. Definitely him, not me. It should be every believer's experience. Because if raising dead is elementary, it should be every believer's experience to have done that at least once. Animals, people, something. Even if you just knock somebody out and raise them back up. I don't know. I can tell you I did that. But God's good to me. Anyway, so God walks some people in this way, and it's for a reason. Let me go back to my notes. I'm the new breed. I'm like part of a new breed. I just want to bring that old phrase, the new breed, back up. The new breed. So we're not of all these structures and the do's and don'ts. If people talk a lot of do's and don'ts, like God's only going to use you if you do and you don't this and you don't and you do this. He's only going to use you if you do. You're only going to be anointed if you do and don't this. The people that are talking do, God told me they're talking shit. Like for real. Like if they're talking about do and don't, or I do. People that call you and brag all day, they don't believe their own press. Side note and a sidebar. But anyway, it's not because we do or don't. It's because we're reliant upon him. And because we walk on his yes. And because we believe him. He will use the least of these. Who will believe him? Who will believe me? Who will go for me? That's what he wants to know. Will you do it even if your family don't understand? That's old tradition. They know their tradition and their way they've led others to do. Sometimes your family wants to pass down their own demons. Like, you know, I'm not going to list stuff off, but wherever they struggle, sometimes your family wants to pass down that mindset and bully you, pressure you, shame you, condemn you to come back into that mold. But God may be breaking some of you out of his mold. And all you have is them yelling no, but God telling you, yes, come forward. Come out of that. Don't do that. Come with me. And he's trying to make you someone that can rely on him. Let me tell you another reason why God doesn't, why he tries to teach you to follow him. He has to deliver us from people, expectations, our own expectations, others' expectations, others' pressures, agendas, our own agendas, systems sometimes, tradition sometimes, validation sometimes, because people pride themselves on all of these things. They pride themselves in their education. They pride themselves in their certificates. They pride themselves in their rituals. They pride themselves in their church attendance. They pride themselves in their family tradition. They pride themselves in their ability to keep everything together. Well, if you can keep everything together, he might test you with a few storms just so that you know that God's still with you when it's not all looking like you got it all together. And all your people that are judging you are going to know that God's still with you. God, wherever you look like you're beautiful or strong, he'll test you there. He'll wreck that thing for a time. Just so that you learn to rely on him and not so that you're so prided in that. If you have flawless skin, you might get a Job moment and you're like, what the heck is happening to my face? You may not eat too much and you're beautiful, but he may let you look like you just blew up and you don't even eat that much. God could be hiding you in obscurity to train you, to trust him. And also, sometimes he's repelling who would come to you, who shouldn't anyway. But anyway, if you can walk through these tests and through these things of obscurity, and if you can walk through everybody's no on God's yes, he can trust you. God didn't need you to be prided in you or in that certificate or in that system, or sometimes he'll lead you to go lead, but you didn't go to a seminary. True revelation is in his presence. True power is in his presence. When you're alone with God, it's going to be known. Jesus. There are people that have been born that know that this place has been old era and it's time for a new era. I felt this since I was little. I was like, what are they doing? They're all in circles. They all do the same thing. They all need each other to validate each other. My sister used to say people think they're unique, but they're really copying other people. It's like they really are. It was like she was really discerning when we were really young. She noticed they needed others' validation. That doesn't have to be a bad thing. It doesn't have to be a bad thing to feel comfort in a unity, to feel comfort in a movement, to be in unity in a movement. It doesn't have to be a bad thing to have validations. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, but are you priding yourself just on that? Or are you fully dependent on getting that before you do what God wants you to do? So let's get balance there. So I'm telling you that the Lord is going to move some people back into places that he's pulled them from, and to do some things that he didn't lead them to do, yesteryear. And that's just what time it is. Anyway, connect with me. Don't be afraid. Inbox me. Friend request me on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Apostle Anna Clark. Find my links below. God bless you. Hope this confirms you, challenges you, encourages you. Maybe you know this, and that's great, because then that means we're on track. And that's all I got. All right, bye.